Hello, I'm Leslie Chenault, and I teach digital design at Rockledge High School, and I'm also the department chair for Career and Tech Ed at our school. A few months ago, I ran across a blog from an elementary school teacher that showed how to create a digital hall pass for your classroom. The idea is that with Google Forms, a QR code, and any type of mobile device, you can create a digital hall pass that electronically records student movement in and out of your classroom. This is a great idea, especially in high schools where students usually have a mobile device and love any excuse to use it for a legit school reason. At our school, we are required to capture who is leaving our room, what time they left, where they went, and when they return on a paper hall pass. This is sometimes because of less than legal activities that happen in the bathroom. I am beta testing it for my classes this year, but we may move to a school-wide digital pass next year if this is successful. So the first thing you need to do is create a Google form. From your Google school account, you can find forms. So I'm going to go up here to the Apps button next to my name, click Google Apps, and scroll to find Forms. You may have to hit More, but you're looking for Forms. When I get to the Forms dialog, I'm going to choose a new form, so I'm going to click the blank plus sign, and a dialog box will pop up where I can begin to create my form. I'm going to title my form Hall Pass. And my first question, I'm going to make a short answer question because I want them to type in their student number. I use student number because that way they can't choose a random name of somebody in the classroom or even outside of the classroom and then go to the bathroom, do something illegal, and get that student in trouble. It's very unlikely that they'll know somebody else's student number. So I use student number to capture who is leaving the classroom. And like I said, it's a short answer. I make the question required, which means they cannot submit the pass until they've answered that question. So I've captured my first question. I'm going to add a question. So I go over here to the right where the Add Question button is. I click that. My next question is going to be a drop down. I choose drop down because it fits better on mobile devices. So my first question is, or the next question is, where are you going? My first option will be bathroom. You can have as many as you want. These are the ones that I usually have requests for. The last question that you need to have is return to class. And I'll explain why that's important in a minute. But that needs to be your last question. So we have our form. I'm going to make that question required. And there's my hall pass. Now I'm going to select at the top, I'm going to copy this URL or this link right here. And I'm just going to do Control-C on my keyboard to capture it. Because we want the form to pop up when we click the QR code. So now I'm going to create a QR code. To do a QR code, all you need to do is Google QR code generator and loads of sites will pop up. Most of them are free. I use QR Stuff. I'm going to take the link that I just copied here. I'm going to paste it in here where it says content. You really don't need to worry about the rest of this. You're basically generating a QR code, a straight QR code that goes to a website URL. I'm going to Control-V to paste in the name of my form. And you'll notice that over here it generated a QR code. I click that button, it generates a code, and there it is. You can save this code somewhere in your computer. Right now it's in your download folder. So I now have my QR code generated. I'm just going to pull up Word and create a digital hall pass. And like I said, I'm not doing anything more fancy here than inserting a picture. I can go to here, choose that QR code that I downloaded, paste it here, and type digital hall pass. And it print this document out, put it near your door or put it near your desk, wherever you want the students to come and check out of your classroom. So there's my form. I've generated my code. Now, how do they use it? So the first thing the kids have to have is a QR code reader app on their device. There are loads of free ones in the Google App Store, the iTunes Store. All they have to do is just download the simple QR code reader. Doesn't do anything other than read codes. It's not any kind of malicious adware or anything like that. So they have the QR code reader on their phone. They access that QR code, and the hall pass right here will pop up. They fill out the information in the hall pass. They go do their business. They come back. They access the same code. And this time they choose return to class. The first time that they access the barcode, it will generate a Google Sheet that looks like this. It automatically timestamps when they leave your classroom down to the second, captures the student number, the destination, and this is why the return to class is important, because now I have when they left and when they came back. So you want to make sure that you're capturing both of those events. And that's all there is to the digital hall pass. The cool thing about the digital hall pass, we all have those kids in our class that are frequent flyers, that have to go to the bathroom all the time, or you think they seem to choose a certain time of day always to go. The beauty about the digital hall pass is if you've got it on paper and they've signed in and out, you really can't capture it. And in the heat of the day, when you're working on stuff and there's an activity levels high, you can't really put your hands on who's leaving, how many times, and who your frequent flyers are. With the Google Sheet, you can do that. Here's a list of the in and out of my classroom. The first column is the timestamp. I can click the arrow in that first column right there, and I can choose sort sheet. And this does it from small to large, A to Z or whatever. Now you can see when a student has left, and you can also see how long they were gone. See, that student was gone 7 minutes. That student was gone 7 minutes. So it's really cool to be able to capture how long they've been out of your classroom. The other cool thing is you can also sort this by student number. Who are my frequent flyers? I click the drop down, sort my sheet, and now I can see that this child right here has to go to the bathroom every day in second period. And I can tell that he or she likes to spend some time. That's a 10-minute trip. Didn't sign back in there. Here's a 12-minute trip. So I can tell that I have a frequent flyer that likes to be gone at least 10 minutes of instructional time every day in my class. Now I know why he's failing. This is the cool thing about this sheet. You can actually pinpoint behavior using data, something for your PGP, and you can help to prevent that behavior every day. That prevents the argument when you tell the kid, you always leave every day in my class. No, I don't. Oh, yes, you do. And there's the data on the sheet. So this is the cool thing about the digital hall pass. The other cool thing about the digital hall pass has to do with discipline. In high schools especially, you have students that leave, use the restroom for purposes other than using the restroom, may get into trouble. The dean calls and all the teachers and says, I need to know who's out of your room between 12 and 12:15. Like I mentioned earlier, this sheet could be one that is shared with the entire school. For example, every teacher in my school could have that same barcode that populates this one sheet. The dean would be able to look at it at any time during the day, sort it, and tell exactly who was out of class from 12 to 12:30. One thing you have to keep in mind with the Google Sheets is that it drops off the leading zeros. For example, you notice that this student number is only 5 digits long, but most of them are at least 6. That means that this one right here started with a 0. So you have to keep that in mind when you're looking at the student data if you're going to use student number for your student identifier. Well, that's all I've got for you as far as digital hall pass. I really hope it's something that you can use in your classroom to monitor student behavior, monitor your classroom, and keep track of where your kids are at any time during the day. Please feel free to get a hold of me if you have any questions on creating the form, the QR code, or anything that I've talked about today. Thanks for listening.